Hello, I'm Andrew Davis of Durham University. This is about my paper, Knowing and Learning from Hirst to Ofsted. I'll just pick up one or two of its themes. Ofsted, the UK's beleaguered school inspectorate, has spearheaded a number of contestable policies recently. One of their current inspection framework criteria places logical sequencing at the heart of teaching, learning and curriculum, and they define learning as a change in long-term memory. So, Hirst argued convincingly that the logical character of any particular body of knowledge doesn't and shouldn't determine the order in which it must be learned. What then of Ofsted's insistence on appropriate sequences? After all, Hirst's important points don't, of themselves, exclude the possibility of empirical research into optimal sequencing. But I show that such research is impossible. For my arguments, I draw on the holist character of knowledge and the nature of understanding. The very idea that allegedly optimal learning sequences could apply to all students looks pretty implausible too. Why do Ofsted speak of a logical progression at all? If to discourage illogical progressions, that's hardly necessary. And in many subjects, the notion of a logical progression is unclear in principle. Incidentally, the currently fashionable direct instruction is supported by some in the DFE, that's capital D, capital I. Boxer defines it as a specific program with scripts, focused resources, and teaching sequences planned to the most minute detail. Yet, such allegedly evidence-informed sequences risk insensitivity to ongoing student responses as the teaching proceeds. Hirst's later thinking took a practical turn. Education, he asserts, must be conceived as primarily initiation into certain substantive social practices. Yet Ofsted defines learning as an alteration in long-term memory, where knowledge is posited as an individual asset. I see this as in tension with Hirst's emphasis on initiation into social practices. Ofsted's learning definition speaks of something that might, at best, be a necessary condition for learning. If a pupil is taught a scientific concept badly and acquires some confused or false beliefs, she will certainly undergo long-term memory changes, yet she will not have learned. Ofsted's definition is too true to be good. Arguably, we should never characterize acquiring untrue or confused beliefs as learning. Now, just how does a child come to inhabit one of Hirst's substantive social practices? And I see Hirst's practices as closely related to knowledge domains. Learners must start somewhere. Papers certainly learn. Hirst notes the distinction between learning by reasoning and learning by initiation. Consider a student with existing competence in some knowledge domain. She can now learn by understanding and evaluating what she's told or read about the domain. She can explore the domain for herself in search of new knowledge. But students at earlier stages must be initiated into domains to reach the learning by reasoning stage. Philosophers have offered verdicts on this, combining the empirical with the philosophical since Wittgenstein. I offer some commentary on this towards the end of the paper.